So I have a pretty good update for y'all today. Do y'all remember when I did that video probably a couple months ago? If y'all don't, then I'll link it in the description. But the video on the Department of Justice searching and seizing, essentially stealing money from travelers at certain airports around the country. I think the investigation was done at the Atlanta airport, but the investigation went on to show how they were basically pulling over what seemed to be random passengers or passengers that they somehow suspected carrying larger sums of money, upwards of even $100,000. You know, they had line items for people carrying 10,000, and they're basically seizing their money. And if they couldn't show a valid reason for having this money, they never got it back. Right? That investigation took place, and from that, this video that I'm about to share now shows how the Department of Justice, DOJ, suspends that program after receiving, I guess, a lot of feedback on just how wrong and essentially, in my opinion, illegal it is to just take people money because because they, like, since when do you have to have a reason for having any amount of cash on you? Like, you shouldn't have to have if y'all don't catch me in some sort of illegal activity getting this money, right, then I shouldn't. I mean, from a legal standpoint, from a constitutional standpoint, I don't even see why I should have to give you information or it be seized or stolen from me, right? So this video is an update on where they're at, why they suspended it, and you know, what the plans are moving forward. So y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, it's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.
You're either going to sign a consent form saying that you're allowing us to search them.
Whatever you guys are doing in this airport,
Or I'm going to detain them,
is totally wrong.
run my dog on it, and get a search warrant.
I'm a random search, guys.
I didn't feel like I could have said no.
So those white folks.
And I'm the random search.
No, there's no way this is random.
Innocent passengers searched at the gate by plainclothes drug agents looking to seize cash.
You're taking people's money based off an assumption.
I work hard for my money.
How many innocent people do you have to search before you find what you're looking for?
Sir, I've got nothing to say to you.
The DEA still hasn't answered our questions, but our 2-year investigation
Why do people have to prove themselves innocent?
would lead to a single incident that would end the entire program nationwide.
Oh, that's my. Hey.
That's yours. Where's your bag at?
I don't consent to search, sir.
You don't have to consent. Where's your backpack at? Where is it? Under your seat?
You got put away, but I don't consent to being searched.
I don't care what your consent stuff.
Had you not seen our investigation, what would you have done?
I would have just assumed that it was part of a standard screening procedure and consented to the search.
David recorded the incident on the very same phone where he had watched our investigation in plain sight. He stopped recording only to double-check the article so he could stand up for his rights.
I didn't consent to be searched. Like, I dragged off the plane here. Is that accurate?
Actually, you walked off the plane, dragged you off. I took your bag off the plane. So
You took the bag off my plane.
Okay. Tell your story.
Back detained, not you.
Yeah, you're trying this legal stuff. It's not going to work, dude.
This
Y'all tell me how much sense does that make? Yes, I walked off the plane because you all stole my bag. I mean, yeah, y'all essentially y'all took me off this plane. What am I supposed to do? Okay, take my bag. I'm just gonna stay here on the plane. I swear, man. And then have the nerve to have an attitude. Like, how do y'all have an attitude? And y'all know y'all doing something that even if you feel that it's your job and it's in your right legally because the government is telling you to do so, You should not be having an attitude with me because I'm fighting for my rights, especially if I didn't do anything. I don't understand the bold, arrogant attitude of this guy. I really don't. And if I would have, God, I hope I don't carry cash like that anyway. So, but I would hope to never be in this situation because I'd be ready to fight this dude, honestly. And then there's a whole nother situation going on.
You walked off the plane, drag you off. I took your bag off the plane. So tell
the bag off
your
my
story
plane.
straight.
Okay.
Yeah, tell your story
Back
straight.
to thing, not you.
Yeah, you're trying this legal stuff. It's not going to work, dude.
This particular passenger said no, did not give consent,
Correct.
and the task force officer removed his bag from the plane anyway.
And to do that, the agent needed reasonable suspicion.
The Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Justice reopened his investigation of the DEA's airport cold consent encounters after seeing the video David recorded.
We wouldn't do this and be doing it across the country if it was illegal.
Without the subject thinking to immediately use their cell phone to record the event, we certainly wouldn't have known about it. In fact, we clearly wouldn't have known about it because absent that video, there was no record of the incident.
The DEA had no record because agents didn't find drugs or cash in David's bag.
The DEA wasn't keeping records of its encounters unless it found cash or drugs.
And they promised you they would.
And they promised us after our first report a decade ago they would.
Once they learned of your latest investigation, they were going back and filling out these reports from months earlier?
It turned out because they hadn't found any cash or drugs when they did the search of that individual, they hadn't prepared any paperwork at the time. When we began our investigation and asked for the paperwork, that's when, months later, they started creating paperwork trying to lay out why they did what they did.
David's name was put on a DEA list because he bought a last-minute ticket.
When you buy a last minute ticket, we get alerts.
In some cases, the only reason for the so-called cold consent encounter was a purchase of a last-minute ticket. I purchased a last-minute ticket to come interview you.
Approaching individuals based solely on that basis without any lead, any other information to suggest they might be a drug courier or money launderer was concerning.
The Inspector General discovered David's last-minute ticket was reported to the DEA by an airline employee who was a regular paid informant. A single commercial airline employee received tens of thousands of dollars, effectively a cut of the money seized.
It turned out that the individual was getting a percentage of the amount seized on multiple occasions over a longer period of time.
Informants are being paid with confiscated property from searches that the informants triggered with no real evidence. It's obvious why that's a potential abuse and a potential violation of civil rights.
U.S. Senator John Ossoff of Georgia launched his own inquiry with the Department of Justice, citing the findings of our investigation. What was the most troubling thing you saw in our reporting?
There is an economic incentive to stop, search, and confiscate, even where there was little or no, in many cases, no evidence implicating the person searched, and where here in Georgia it appears that there may have been racial profiling involved.
Senator Ossoff's inquiry and the Inspector General's report landed on the Attorney General's desk within days of each other.
The Inspector General's report was scathing about the failures associated with this program. Many of those failures revealed by your reporting.
We are recommending, which is what we did in the report, immediately suspending these activities, which the department did.
This is the directive from the Deputy Attorney General of the U.S. Department of Justice, ordering the DEA to stop searching innocent passengers at departure gates nationwide.
I'm not sure that this change, this investigation, and this halt to potentially very problematic DEA practices would have occurred without your reporting. You have been on this story helping to expose what appear to be potentially serious civil rights violations.
Now, at airports across the nation, there's no sign of plainclothes drug agents searching passengers at the boarding door. The agents appear to have departed. It's unclear if they'll ever return.
I think there should be some lawsuits set up, man. lawsuits not only getting the individuals who, lost their money and never received it back, but for all of the individuals that were, pulled off, checked, especially pulled off my flight. Don't let me get pulled off my flight over some nonsense. And I don't even keep cash on me. Ooh. And the thing is, I buy, I'd say at least half of the flights that I take are booked last minute. Now they're typically booked in a way they're typically booked through a way that I would likely be protected from this. I'm sure I'm protected on that end, but half my flights, I would say, that I take, half of my trips that I take, I would say, in a given year, are booked last minute. I mean, I would say easily within 72 hours, sometimes within 48. I may actually have to book a trip tonight or tomorrow, today or tomorrow, for a trip in about 3 days, depending on some circumstances. And so it's I think that's a very, and the other thing is, I don't know if you all know, but the way airlines typically make most of their money is on last minute travel. So it's a very common thing. It's not like last minute travel is like an anomaly, and so because of that, like, these agents, the data shows that these agents should look at these. That's like literally, airlines survive on baggage fees and last minute travel. Those are the two biggest things that airlines survive on. The last I checked, could have changed, but the last I checked, those are the two biggest things that they make money on. It's if you're someone who books a flight 3 to 6 months in advance, and you either book a flight that comes with bags, or you don't bring bags with you, you are the airline's worst nightmare from a profitability standpoint. So last minute travel makes no sense to me as to why they would even target that. And then secondly, it's just invading people's rights and people's privacy, especially when you don't find anything. They go ahead. I'm waiting on a class action lawsuit of some sort. The problem is, I don't think enough people even know that this is going down. I don't think enough people have been affected, and I think a majority of people who were, searched and seized, or we'll just say searched, not even who lost their money, just chalk it up, to being, they just go on about their lives. I mean, not too long ago, I went to the airport, and I literally got, they say it's a random screening when you go through the metal detector, or when you go through the thing, and they pull you aside and say, oh, this is a random check. I got randomly checked twice in a row, literally within 2 minutes of each other. I walked through. They told me, oh, this is a random screening. We're going to set you over here. But what they did was they had me walk like around the detector and to wait for somebody. They didn't want me waiting on the other side, because I guess they just didn't want me to like walk off. So they had me go back through the detector and wait on the opposite side. They then said, okay, we're ready for you. Had me just walk through, not really to check, just to walk through so I can get to the agent that was supposed to be checking me. And I rang again. I didn't have any metal on me. It supposedly wasn't ringing for metal. It was ringing because I was being randomly checked. And I I just about went off on the TSA. I'm like, y'all keep saying it's random, but I keep, and part of the reason why I was so frustrated is because it seems like I would say if I took 10 flights, I would say 30 to 40% or 33 to 4 of those flights, I'm getting randomly checked. It just it doesn't feel random to me. Right. But every time I just accept it and I just go on about my day. I get frustrated, but I accept it and go on about my day. And there could be something funny moving there. I say that as an example as to like, there's probably hundreds of thousands of people that have been searched, didn't find anything, they let go. And really their rights were being violated. So it'll be interesting if there is some sort of lawsuit, some sort of class action. I highly doubt it, but it needs to happen. That's my thoughts. Interesting follow-up. Like I said, if y'all didn't see the first video, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, definitely let me know what y'all think. All right, it's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.